Good morning guys from a very noisy Shrewsbury railway station where I am taking the Heart of Wales line today as far as Cynghordy, and there's only one reason for that, isn't there, and that is to visit the fantastically picturesque and legendary Cynghordy Viaduct. Now today I have my new e-bike with me. It is the U1 from iScooter, and I will be telling you all about that a little bit later on in the journey. But for now, we're going to get on the train and I'll see you on board. Our train today was this two-car class 150 150278, departing at 10:02 and scheduled to arrive into Cynghordy at 12:23. And if you're thinking about doing a similar journey, the door with the bicycle logo next to it is the one you need to be using to get on the train. Right then guys, on board the 10:02 Heart of Wales line, Shrewsbury down to Swansea, and of course, as I said before, I've got to get off at Cynghordy. And the bike's there, it's nicely in position actually, and because of its compact nature, it's only taking up 2 of the 3 fold-away seats, so you can actually sit on the seat next to your bike if you want to, and that's something you don't get that often with a regular sized bike. But yeah, strapped in, ready to go, just waiting for the off now. We left on time, and despite the dirty windows, you could still see it was a lovely morning in Shrewsbury. The windows of the world famous Severn Bridge Junction signal box glistening in the sunlight. Why is it famous? Well, it's the largest mechanical signal box still operating anywhere in the world. Our train makes its way to the right of the box, heading down the Welsh Marches line towards our first stop, Church Stretton. And like so many of the stops on our journey, the station looks well cared for, and it's good to see some of the station volunteers out this morning looking after it. We were rattling along at quite a pace. There are 4 fixed bike racks on this train, plus straps that help keep the bike fixed in position. I had deployed the rear stand on the U1, which helped, and if you want to be even more compact, you can fold the front handlebars down, as shown here. Branching off the Welsh Marches line after Craven Arms, we're onto the Heart of Wales line proper now. Driving slowly past Broome, the first request stop on the line, we actually stop at the next request stop, Upton Heath, before again driving slowly past Buckenhall and arriving at our first station stop proper, Knighton. And we're 3/4 of an hour into the journey already at this point, but yeah, if you're doing the full journey down to Swansea, you've still got another 3.5 hours or so to go.
We are now at Knighton.
We're stopped for a couple of minutes at Knighton, and I took the opportunity to improve the filming quality by cleaning a small patch of my window. The driver has to exchange tokens for the next section of the line here, and you'll see him doing just that in the background. A passing loop was installed at Knighton following modernisation of the route signalling, but the first train we'll meet is at Llandrindod, some way further down the line. And at the time of this video, frequency was low with just 4 trains a day in each direction, and one of those is about 5:30 in the morning. However, the service was re-timetabled on the 14th of December 25, resulting in an extra train in the middle of the day. Now we stopped to collect one more passenger at Knuckles before proceeding across the superb 13-arch Knuckles Viaduct, completed in 1864. It curves across the valley with the River Team and the small village of Knuckles below. I had this front section all to myself during this trip, but it doesn't tend to get that busy in my experience, although I would imagine that it is a different story in the summer. Well, I should mention that in February 2025, the first of 6 fully refurbished Cycle Travel Class 153s entered service on the line, allowing up to 12 bicycles, including e-bikes, to be carried on a 2-car train. The scenic nature of this line, together with the amount of stops, gives passengers fantastic walking and cycling opportunities between stations. It was well publicised at the time, so I do hope that people have taken the opportunity to use the new trains. If you have, or have any thoughts on the units, please let me know in the comments below. After stopping at Llandrindod Road, we carry on over the level crossing at Dolai and pass by the platform without stopping. This is definitely a well-kept station. Looked after by the Dolai Station Action Group, it was actually visited by Queen Elizabeth II in 2002, and a large plaque on the platform commemorates the event. At about 11:30 we arrived into Llandrindod, where there is a passing loop and the train heading north towards Shrewsbury is waiting for us. Right then guys, so we are now at Llandrindod, and yeah, there is a crew change here. Well, certainly the guard is going to be different for the next leg. I'm not sure about the driver, but yeah, so we're here on time, pretty much an hour and a half into the journey, and yeah, we meet the other train going north, so there's a passing loop here as well, and that was on the other platform as we pulled in. So yeah, enjoyed it so far. The weather's holding out, isn't it? Just about. So hopefully it's going to be dry when I get to my destination, which is going to be in about 45 minutes time. Her famous last words regarding the weather, of course. There is a full crew change here, by the way, so from here on in we have a new driver and conductor. We carried on to Bilth Road, which had what I thought were unusually large buildings for such a small station. It's primarily there to serve the sizeable settlement of Bilth Wales, but like a lot of other stops on this line, it's quite a distance from the town, 2 miles in this case, and another word of warning, any station with the word road in it, well, it could involve a bit of a walk to your final destination. There's no catering on board our train. If you've watched my previous video on the Heart of Wales line, I'll link to it here, you'll know that last time I did this route, I enjoyed a lovely meal on the way down, wine and everything. But this time I decided on a much less lavish affair. Just a chicken sandwich. But again, a lot of the request stops are literally in the middle of nowhere, so don't bank on there being a shop, a pub or anything nearby. An exception to this though is Remotest Wales, where there are some great pubs. The lovely station building here is Grade 2 listed, and although it's not really used for railway related purposes anymore, it does house a local community centre and meeting room. And not far to go now, and outside my window the skies were looking increasingly grey. The sort of grey that tells you that whilst it was fine at the moment, the minute you arrived it was going to start raining. A lot. Anyway, it's nice and warm inside our train. Decent padded seats on these Class 150s. They're comfortable enough for this length of journey at the speeds we're going. You've also got conventional power and twin USB provision, but unfortunately mine didn't work. But after being beaten for speed by an articulated lorry, I tried out the Wi-Fi. A mobile signal is quite patchy out here, so train Wi-Fi is useful, but on this occasion it wasn't very good. In my experience, it was just about good enough to send receive text messages, or maybe the odd WhatsApp message actually. But the scenery is the best bit about this line. We climb now up to Sugarloaf, the most geographically remote station in Wales. Passenger usage in 24-25 was just 842. And after the station we reach the summit at 820 feet above sea level, and then it's into the 1001 yard Sugarloaf tunnel, and then out over the Cynghordy Viaduct itself. I'll be telling you a lot more about this viaduct in a short while, but for now it was time to alight. Just me and my bike, and I stood and watched as the train departed and continued on its way down south. Right guys, so we've just got off the train at Cynghordy, and the plan is to cycle up to the Cynghordy Viaduct, because as you've just seen, when you go over the viaduct, as a viaduct as impressive as this one, you can't really see much of it. So we're going to get some great shots. We're going to find out a little bit about the viaduct as well when we get there. But before I do that, I'm going to show you the iScooter U1. Right, so I've wheeled the bike out onto the platform, and the first thing you notice really is how compact it is. And look at it up against me here, and it can be even more compact than that, because all you have to do, guys, loosen this lock here and you will see that handlebars fold down as well. It's as easy as that, and I won't do it now, but the saddle also comes off if you need it to. I've just come back into the shelter. It's started to rain a little bit out there. Now the battery, well, that's good for a maximum range of about 40 miles, ample enough distance to get you to and from your commute every day. And the powerful 500 watt motor will give you a top speed of about 20 miles an hour, and that's going to be whizzing you up those hills in next to no time. The power assist feature is controlled using the plus and minus buttons here. As you can see, we've got 1, 2 and 3 being the most powerful. And also you've got a speedo there, so you know how fast you're going, and most importantly, how much battery life you've got left. There's also a trip computer here to see how far you've gone, and when you're using the power assist, this indicator here will tell you how much assist you're actually getting. And of course it's not all about speeding along, is it? Because when you need to brake, well, you have got disc brakes on both wheels, and that is a massive advantage, especially in the wet as well. And not just that, guys, but you've also got a really comfortable ride from the padded saddle here to the suspension on the rear wheel. And you've also got brilliant visibility with front and rear LED lights. Now, iScooter are offering you guys the chance to get an extra £25 off the purchase of one of their U1 electric bikes. All you've got to do is follow the link which is on the screen now, or click on the link in the description below, enter my exclusive code LMT25, and like me, you're going to enjoy many hours of happy and easy cycling. Right, so it looks like it's about to stop raining, touch wood. Let's get on the bike and we'll head off up to the viaduct. So it was through the rickety gate, and yeah, just to illustrate the remoteness of the station, note here how far it is to the replacement bus. There is good access to and from the platform though for people with mobility issues and cyclists. I made my way down the ramp here and onto the narrow lane leading east from the station. It's about a mile to the viaduct following these lanes, and yeah, although it was a dull and wet December day, I really enjoyed not having to put much effort into riding the bike. Before I knew it, we were approaching the viaduct, and I stopped to get a shot of it through the trees, where from this viewpoint it looked absolutely massive. When I got back on the bike, it carried on raining, and I made my way to the foot of one of the stone arches, the one that spans the narrow lane here. Well, it didn't offer much protection from the rain, to be honest, but it was an impressive sight nevertheless. Right, guys, well, that's typical, isn't it? Because as soon as I started riding down from the request stop there at Cynghordy over to the viaduct, it started raining, and I am now cowering underneath one of the 18 arches that make up this viaduct. And what an impressive structure it is. I'm going to take a few shots of it from a distance so you can just get a feel for how it looks when you are riding over it on the train. And yeah, I'm going to let VoiceOver Man tell you a little bit about the viaduct, its history, when it was built and what it is built of. The Grade 2 listed Cynghordy Viaduct consists of 18 arches and spans the picturesque Avon Bran Valley. Built between 1867 and 1868 to a design by Scottish engineer Henry Robertson, it was constructed of sandstone and lined with bricks. The imposing structure gently curves its way across the remote Welsh landscape for a distance of 850 feet and sits 102 feet above the ground at its highest point. The viaduct underwent extensive refurbishment by Network Rail in 2016-17, including strengthening of the brickwork. This necessitated covering the structure in nearly 300,000 feet of scaffolding tube. A blue plaque from the National Railway Heritage Awards commemorates the work here, and there is also an information board and a further blue plaque recognising the viaduct itself. And as an alternative to the lanes, there is a well signposted circular 2-mile walk from the railway station across fields, marshes and ancient woodlands, and yeah, maybe I'll come back and do that one day too. In the meantime, I'd spotted a gap in the weather, which was my opportunity to head back to the station and wait for my return train home. Right then, guys, well, it's pretty much stopped raining for 5 minutes at least, and I'm going to take that as my cue to head back up to Cynghordy request stop. What did you think of the Cynghordy Viaduct? Have you been across it? Have you been down here to see it close up and first hand, so to speak? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget, guys, if you follow the link on the screen now, or click in the link in the description below, enter my exclusive promo code LMT25, you can get £25 off your purchase of the iScooter U1 electric bike, and you can have as much fun as I've had riding around on it. Thank you very much for watching. I shall catch you on another adventure soon, I'm sure. And until the next one, guys, as always, cheers for now.